morning. Thanks everyone for joining. This is Martin Ho's press conference. We are previewing our game against Man United this Sunday. All on the online feed today. Please use the raise hand function if you'd like to ask questions. And we have no embargoes on the session. Joe Bradshaw, BBC, would you like to kick us off?
Morning, Martin. Nice to see you.
You too, Joe. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How's the squad looking after the international break? I know lots of players been away, made some good impacts. Guess a good vibe around the camp.
Yeah, it's always good when the players go away. They represent their countries, and that's obviously a privilege to do that. And we've had some good performances throughout of that. Obviously, Leonard picked up a trophy and an honour for the under-23s, which is good to bring back into the group around a winning mentality, winning edge. There's been loads of good performances throughout, and we're in a good place.
I wonder, as you enter this last period of games, how do you reflect on the season? Obviously, you had the brilliant start, right up there, sort of competing for the Champions League spots. A little bit of a drop off in terms of results recently. Where do you land with how the season's gone? Yeah,
well, it hasn't finished yet. We've still got 3 to go, and I think so far we're pleased in terms of the work we've done. Are we happy with every result? No. Do we think we could have got more out of certain games? Definitely yes. Could we have performed better in certain games? Yes. And that's the consistency I've spoken about since the start, that you need a very clear consistency from start to end of the season to enable you to be in those top places. And you need to make sure you're on top of your game in a lot of periods. And maybe we've had some parts where we've been off it, and we know that. I think we can be relatively pleased with what we've done. But this club, myself, the players want more, and we expect to be competing in latter stages of competitions, competing for domestic honours and competing for those top 3-4 spots. So we know we have work to do.
And finally from me, back at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, I know you'll be excited about that, but I also know you lost both your games there so far. So I was wondering what you and your players have learned maybe from those experiences against Chelsea and Everton earlier this year.
Yeah, Chelsea being more ruthless in their box. We need to be. We had numerous chances in that game to convert, and we didn't. I thought the performance was relatively good. And in Everton, we just didn't get going. That was probably one of those performances throughout the season that you have where we didn't get any rhythm, we didn't get any consistency. We wasn't aggressive enough with the pressure, and we come out second best on that day. And we're not perfect. We're not going to get right all the time, but that was definitely one of those games against Everton this year where we've been off it. But apart from that, I think we've had relatively good parts of performances when we've been there. We just need to make sure we find the consistency, and we played the actual game and not played the occasion of playing at the stadium.
All the best. Good luck for it. Thank you, Martin.
Cheers, Joe. Have a good day.
Rachel.
Hi, Martin. Can I ask you about team news? How everyone is looking coming back to the international break?
Yeah. Everyone is fit and healthy. Obviously, Hannah Veek picked up an injury when she was with the under-23s. That'll rule her out for the rest of the season. It's not ACL, so we don't have any headlines. It's an MCL injury. She'll be out for the rest of the season, and we'll be ready to go for pre-season. So I think she now gets well looked after by the medical team and the club, and we'll make sure we do everything we can to get Hannah back on her feet.
And I know it was a bit of a long international break, but I just wondered, did it kind of maybe come at a good time? You know, you're having a maybe more difficult block in the last block, and it maybe puts a bit of a gap between that, allows you to reset. Yeah,
you can look at it both sides, Rachel. You can look at it that it gives you an opportunity to come away from that run of games and results. Largely looking at it with disappointment that we've conceded goals in the way we conceded them, and obviously not got wins out of those games. But actually, there's large parts of performance we can be happy with and we can take forward. And then on the other side of the coin, as a head coach, you're nervous when the international break comes, because we seem to have a bad omen with them at the moment, that every time we have one, we seem to be picking up injuries when they're coming back. So, two sides of a coin, but you have to look at it with a positive mindset, and that now presents opportunity for someone else to come into the team.
And can I just ask, you touched on it there about conceding. You had 5 clean sheets in your first 12 league games, but now haven't had one in 7, I think, which I'm not going to say it's a pattern, but it's happened before with Tottenham, where the team has started well in terms of conceding, and then second half of the season it seems to become a bit of an issue. can you maybe pinpoint what that might be?
No, you can't. You can look at different parts of it and different areas of it. Within those games, you've probably had a consistent run of a backline, which then gives obviously confidence and belief and probably gets a rhythm. We've had injuries in that backline for all the way across it that we've had to make changes and adapt, which is also fine. So it's not excuses. There may be some of the factors if you're asking, but actually I think times we've actually just gifted goals. We haven't defended properly. We haven't been as efficient as we usually are. And also on the flip side of the coin, you can look and say, have teams been ruthless against us? Like City, for example, had 6 shots on target and scored 5. And but if I look at 3 of those goals, we've virtually handed them the goals. Arsenal the same. So yeah, if we look at it with a different eye, but I think there's parts of it of us in terms of performance level, us in terms of concentration, and then maybe at times getting rhythm as a whole team when you have to make changes to when you have injury and you pick up injury. That definitely causes a little bit of rhythm disjointment within the team, but they're professionals for a reason. They perform at a high level at this club because they're good players, and we have to make sure that we get the best out of every player.
Just finally, United, obviously, a very exciting game last time you played. Does it kind of give the players a little bit of an extra edge, knowing that you were up so much and then it became a draw? Does it kind of give them the extra edge to want to get the win this time?
Yeah, I think these games, when we go into them, you should go in with excitement. Yeah, the last game was excitement, definitely for the neutral, I'll tell you that. We go up 3, they come back, and I thought the last part of the game, and we managed it quite well. And they have a player like Rolfo, when you're bringing on that level of quality, and she pops up in 2 moments to score 2 goals, and maybe tactically at the end of that game it could have been better from myself and in terms of how we set up and the way we done things maybe. But yeah, we can take a lot of confidence from that game, because I think in the game we controlled large parts. We had numerous opportunities within that game, and I thought our execution of the tactical game plan was very, very good. And these are the games the players, especially them being at the stadium, want to play in, want to be up for. And you want to make sure you're competitive in. If these are the teams you want to push in the future, then we have to make sure we're competitive in these games. Cheers, Rachel. Thank you.
Chris Cowlin.
Morning, Martin. Hope you're well. Now, Manchester United on Sunday, of course. What sort of game are you expecting? And of course, it is a team and a manager you know very well.
Yeah, competitive. Yeah, bit of needle, bit of bite in it, and then definitely one with high quality. I think both teams possess really good qualities and really good players. They have really good ideas of how they see the game, and then we kind of have to go into this game with a totally different mindset now and build off the positive aspects of the performances we've had in the games where we haven't come out with results in the last 3 or 4. But we're in a good place. We're training well. Energy's good around the group, and we know we have to perform at this level and keep building on what we're doing going into next season.
Of course, it has been a very decent season, and 1 more win, and you can equal the points tally set by the Spurs Women in the WSL. But as you mentioned there, the last 4 games in all competitions have ended in defeat. Is this probably your most difficult spell at the club so far? Yeah, definitely. I think most difficult spell, probably managing Tottenham. There's always going to be pressure, Chris. It's a huge club with huge history, huge backing, and huge expectation, more importantly. And I know any game we go into, we're expected to push, we're expected to be competitive at minimum, and we want to perform to win. So yeah, these games we've had have been difficult, don't get me wrong, but we have to try and change the perspective and the narrative on it. That yeah, we're disappointed not winning games, but also what aspects can we take away that we can take with us for learning. And I think we've done that really well in terms of trying to build on those performances. And now going into this, we have to do the same. We have to make sure that it's a clear mindset after the international break, and we come into this game with confidence and belief that we can get a result. You mentioned post-match after the Arsenal game that you felt that a lot of people were surprised by the league positions and some of the results this season from the Spurs Women. Do you hope that is going to be the case next season? Because you've spoken out many times stating that the club and the board are very behind you, and the backing and the investment will come. So do you hope that you will ruffle a few feathers next season to be in that top 3?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't come into any season, Chris, to just be part of it, just take part, be part of this league. I want to make sure this club can be where it should be, which is competing for those honours domestically and European honours, getting in those qualification spots, which we know is difficult because it's only 3 teams and there's a lot of good teams in this league. But we'll make sure that this year gives us a really good opportunity to build foundations of where we want to go and what we want to look like. The investment and support from the leadership and the owners has been outstanding, and I can't speak any more about them in terms of from a positive way. And we'll continue in the summer window to make sure that the team evolves, we add more depth to the squad, and we continue to progress. And I have no doubt next year we can be competitive. And as I've always said, the performances you put in, the results you get, usually determine how well your season's been. And I have no doubts next year that we can be even more competitive than we are now.
Lastly, can I just ask about the goalkeeping coach, Ian, of course, coming, Chris has left. What will Ian bring to the group?
Yeah, a lot. And firstly, obviously, I want to say thanks to Chris because he's played obviously a huge part in the last 12 months I've been here and beyond when I wasn't here. And now Ian comes in and can continue that work. And we'll add so much developmental mindset, a lot of experience of what it takes to be a top goalkeeper in this league with some of the ones he's enabled to win, FIFA's best goalkeeper over numerous years. But he also brings an energy and an enthusiasm to the group from a personal perspective that is infectious around staff and players, that you can feel the energy. His attention to detail and his work ethic are things that when I worked with him before, was always stand out for me. And a very committed individual who will give everything to make sure the goalkeepers, but not just the goalkeepers, the outfield players will also succeed.
Best of luck. Thanks, Martin.
Cheers, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Helen.
Hi Martin, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Not too bad. Just a quick thing on this Sevens tournament. So Spurs have signed up for it, and it was pretty exciting in the previous 2 iterations. And I wonder what you expect of it, thinking about the prize pot, the fun. It's a very transitional thing. Yeah,
I think it's a different format, it's a different game, Helen. It's something that maybe catches the eye slightly different. It's got more of a kind of fun edge to it that maybe enables the players to be a bit more free, and probably what it does is definitely draws attention to women's sport and women's football, which I think is good. I think on a separate note, it's a really good thing for people to be involved in, and it's good for us as a club to be involved in. I think it helps you definitely from a commercial perspective to build a brand and a profile, but also enables you to be competitive. And I think we'll go into it with the mindset to enjoy it, to be competitive and allow the players to express themselves. And I think it has really good pros and cons for it and against it. But we're all in, and I think a lot of teams are within this league, so it's going to be exciting.
Brilliant. And for yourself this season, I wonder, A, what surprised you most about this season, and also what you've learned. B, this is obviously, that's just an A. This is B, what you've learned about yourself. Yeah, I've learned a lot, and I've learned that I've got a lot of work to do. I've learned that I'm a very young manager and inexperienced manager at this level. Very highly critical of what I do in terms of I have to give more, I have to do more, I have to find better ways we can work better and be smarter. I think that's probably a big thing, is working smarter, not just working more. So I've learned, there's levels I've got to learn around leadership, management of how I do things, but also how I can best support the players and staff on a daily, weekly, monthly basis and so on. But also learned that I believe I belong at this level. I belong that I can help this club move forward. But under no illusion, Helen, I have a lot of work to do as a head coach. I'm very young, but I'm probably one of those people who want to educate myself every day, want to learn, goes and does study visits quite a lot. Invest so much time in my own development to make sure that I can be the best I can be for the group of players and staff. And what's definitely taught me this year is we're a good team, a really good club. We have very good support, and we have big ambitions. And I have no doubt we'll achieve those ambitions in the future now. And has anything surprised you?
How quickly your hair goes grey as a manager. But it's you actually, honestly, it's not you. I probably look at it, if I'm honest, and that's not my hair. By the way, I look at the job and actually look at it in a way of I have so much respect for head coaches and managers for what you have to go through weekly, monthly in your job. And and how much it does actually take. And maybe a lot of people don't see the things you do away from the pitch, and that's not asking Helen for a pat on the back or a kind of cuddle to say, oh, well done, you're doing your job. It's more, I have so much respect for what you have to do as a head coach with the leadership and management side. That anyone who steps into this job or I come up against in a dugout opposite me, I have so much respect for, because it takes a lot away from you personally, professionally, to commit to doing this job. And but I wouldn't have it any other way. I have a wonderful job, and I have a job I absolutely love. And there's some people who maybe have to have jobs that they don't enjoy. So yeah, I'm very blessed to be where I am.
Thanks very much. See you Sunday.
See you soon, Helen. Take care.
Dan Pentland.
Just want to ask you about Rolfo. I know you mentioned a bit about obviously he's been very effective in the 2 games that you played against United. So how does he become better about kind of, marking, quality attacking players, world-class quality attacking players in the final stage of games?
Yeah, I think that's a big aspect, and I think when we played them, Dan, over the 2 games back to back at the end of last year, you see the depth of quality and experience in that they're bringing onto the pitch, and you have to make sure that your players can concentrate for longer periods. You try and also refresh your squad at the same time when they do that, so you don't become reactive, but you become progressive with how you want the game to evolve when they do things. It's just making sure the players are aware of those individual qualities of them players, and knowing what their strengths are and being able to nullify and stop that. And a lot of that just comes down to concentration. And the more you go through a game, the more tired you get, concentration levels can drop, and that's why probably many goals are scored later on in games. So we just have to make sure the players are aware of those qualities of those players, and making sure when we're defending our box and in around our box, that we're smart to prevent any clear opportunities.
The schedule is the schedule. You treat every game the same, but I suppose you had such good kind of home form to start the season. You treated the fans to some great moments. I think you've had 2 home games in the last 2 and a bit months. Does that bring any kind of challenges? Is that difficult when you're a team that are looking to build momentum, grow the fan base, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think we had obviously a long period where we was at home, and now we've had a period where we're not. And that doesn't change our mindset or mentality and those aspects, because it's 11 players versus 11 players, no matter how we see it. But you enjoy playing at home with the fans there, how they support us, how they've grown over the season, and being in your own ground, especially when we've been at Brisbane Road. I think we've made it a really tough place for people to come. We've made it a real fortress for teams to come to, and we have to make sure that when we're playing at home, we make it as difficult as possible, Dan, and we use to our advantage when we do have home games. The fans, we bring a really exciting game, and our performance allows the fans to get on board, and you bring an enthusiasm within that stadium. And if we do that, I believe we have the ability against anyone to come out on top.
That's brilliant. Thanks for that, Martin. Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Cheers, Dan. Have a good day.
Thanks, Dan. Thomas.
Hi Martin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Just one from me. How important is it at this point in the season to kind of just take a step back? Obviously, I know we mentioned that a win on Sunday would equal Tottenham's best ever points tally in the WSL, and even after maybe a disappointing run of form, it's still important to kind of just step back and realise what a successful season it's been.
I totally agree, and that's maybe some things people want to hear, not want to hear, Tom, but you have to also look back, and I've been very clear with that, and I've also said we have to be real of where we've been and where we've come to, and the amount of changes and adaptations we've made this season. It's not small, it's big. So yeah, we have to sometimes pinch ourselves and step back and say, do you know what? Yeah, we do expect more, and we want more, and we expect more in certain games and certain moments. But if we step back and we look at it after the season's finished, I think we'd look back with a lot of pride, and be kind of proud of what we've achieved in this season, knowing that we've built really strong foundations now for the future, for us as a club, for the team, and hopefully for the next generation of players a lot further down the line, that we've created clear pathways to this senior team. So yeah, I think we can look back with a lot of pride, but that kind of passion and desire has to continue for this next 3 games, because we're not in any sort of holiday mode or holiday season. We've got to make sure that these 3 games were really competitive, and we push now to make sure that we can finish as high as we can.
Thank you, Martin. Best of luck on Sunday.
Cheers, Thomas. Thank you.
And that's it for today. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Have a good day.